Money doesn't grow on trees. Well, we're here to tell you that it does and show you how.
Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be speaking about a topic that I'm a little bit excited for. But first, I'll introduce the main star of the show, Damian and
Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again.
And I am Eshar, the co-host, by the way.
I probably should have introduced you, but I feel like people know who you are now.
I just introduced myself. It's fine. So today we're going to be speaking about how to start a side hustle.
Or what a side hustle is.
Or what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about this topic because I reckon I've been asking myself the same question for about, 5 years, whether I should or I shouldn't. And whether
You've been asking me for about 3 months.
Yeah, I know.
So maybe you might get a bit of value out of this as well.
Maybe I'll learn from this. So I'll start with some stats about what a side hustle is or how many people are doing it. So 64% of millennials have a side hustle or have had one in the past. 58% of Gen X have had a side hustle or have had one in the past. And 44% of baby boomers have had a side hustle or have had one in the past.
Good old baby boomers giving it a crack. How's that, huh?
64% of millennials, though.
That's huge. It's a really big topic at the moment. And I feel like you can't actually see our videographer here, but Dave's actually a side hustler, I guess you could say. But essentially a side hustle is it's a job that you work on top of your full-time job, that it's generally something that you wanted to pursue as a career and you started on the side and you maybe do a few hours a week, and it tends to be a passion that you haven't really pursued in your normal job. So you might be working at a factory, for example, but you may want to sell clothes. You have a passion for selling baseball hats. You know I'm going to get into that because I got a story about baseball hats. But yeah, it's something you're a little bit more passionate about. So huge numbers, and it's a trending topic, I feel, at the moment.
Yeah. Well, why don't we speak about your baseball hat story? Go on.
So this is probably tied into what it is. So I was working at the bank and I was struggling with money, didn't have a lot of money. I was just getting by and I was thinking, okay, what can I do to earn a little bit extra cash? So I was buying baseball caps from China, or I think China, it was a long time ago. And then I was reselling them on eBay and I was making probably $20, $10 to $20 a cap. So yeah, it was okay. It was good. I ended up getting over it because I didn't have a passion for it, but it was earning a little bit of money. So I just bought all these hats in bulk and then I sold them. So it worked. But a side hustle ended up like my main job now started off as a side hustle. Well, it wasn't really a side hustle. It was more about I had to slowly dive into it. Why I had to start it as a side hustle before it became my main craft.
And what do you think the driver was that? Was that financial? Do you think it's scary to go into something and that's why people slowly do it like you did?
Yeah, it's more about risk because essentially when you want to start something new, you can dive straight into it, but that becomes a little bit risky because one, you're not working out all the risk factors in that side business. Whereas if you started slowly on top of your job, then you're still earning an income. So you're not relying on this having to work, and you probably can make more clearer decisions around what you need to do because you're not relying on that. So it's something to earn a little bit of money on the side or something that you're passionate about and you'll take your time with it.
Yeah. So I guess that's the aim. It's to make a little bit more money from a financial perspective, or it's a hobby, something else that you want to do on the side.
Yeah, a lot of people will do it as a hobby, but yeah, I guess you'd probably want to know, how do I start a side hustle? So
how?
Yeah. How do I do it?
How do I do it?
Well, if you don't have a passion for baseball caps, don't sell baseball caps.
I was going to take that idea.
No, you can't.
Okay.
You would suit a baseball cap though.
Thanks. I know.
And the reason is, which leads into find something that you're passionate about and that you're inspired about and you have a genuine interest in, because if you do have that, then you're going to have the driver to continue to do it. And that may lead eventually into a full-time job or a small business. But it's okay if it doesn't. It doesn't need to always go down that path. It's more about doing something that you enjoy. And even from a fulfillment point of view, I mean, for example, you wanted to do it because you feel like, well, tell us why you've been thinking about it.
I have a full-time job. So
Hmm.
for me it is a side thing, and I just felt like I could be doing more and something that was a little bit more meaningful to me, doing
Hmm.
life's work or something like that.
Yeah,
So it wasn't really financially driven. It was
correct.
more, I'm at a position where I feel like I could be giving a little bit more and taking up my time a little bit more efficiently and putting it into something that I enjoy.
Hmm.
But it's just finding the right thing for me.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
So I mean, and that you're probably still in that that finding phase, and that's
Mhm.
okay. That may take a year, could take 5 years, but eventually, when you find it, you're going to know that that's what it is, and you might try a few different things. My next piece of advice is learn the market that you're in. So, for example, if you want to uh, go into the health and fitness industry, as an example, because you've mentioned that a couple of times, learn the market. So, understand exactly what people are doing, find inspiration from people that are doing things really well, and you may see that as something that you want to take into what you want to do, and then you can use that as research.
Yeah.
So, it's really important to do your research. And just investigate what a lot of people do, like, because there's a lot of different things you can do. For example, we'll use the example of health and fitness. You could be nutrition, you could be training, you could write a book about your journey, you could write an ebook, you could do videos on it, you could do a number of things. There's so many different options in any individual market. So I think it's really important to understand the market that you're getting into. If you're buying clothes, if you're writing blogs, if you're copywriting, what do you want to copyright about? There's so many things you can do.
Yeah. So do your research, but then also do something that you enjoy and a platform you enjoy, because a lot of people prefer social media. I mean, social media is a really good
Yes,
marketing tool at the moment. So
it's great.
starting up a page, an ebook, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I would also add in that you need to give up something
Yeah.
in order to supplement that time for your side hustle. So what I mean by that is a lot of people will say, I don't have time. I don't have time to do that. And they will never pursue something that they love. So they're forever working in something that they don't love. And then we all know how quick time goes. I mean, time flies, right? So find something that you can give up to supplement that for what you want to do as your side hustle. It could be spending an hour of TV at night on the couch.
Yeah.
You give that up and you spend an hour researching what you want to do.
But again, I think if it's something that you enjoy, you wouldn't feel like you're giving it up because you're
No, sorry,
pursuing
I mean,
something.
give something up in your own life at the moment to give you that time to invest into what you want to do.
Yeah. So just use your time differently.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly right.
Cool. What would you need to be cautious of? Obviously, we spoke about risk, finance,
Good question.
time. What else do you think someone needs to be worried about or consider?
Yeah, this is a really good question. Again, once you've investigated and you know what area you'd like to go into, I think you need to be cautious about, well, traditionally get rich quick schemes. We all know that they're out there. They're probably not out there well, I don't even know. That's another topic. They're out there, right? I think you need to just be cautious about diving straight into the first idea that you see. I've done it before. Learn, like research. So if you do your right research, then you'll be made aware of what the cautions are, because you'll see what people have done and what's failed and what's worked. So I think by doing your research, you'll be made aware of the little red flags, I guess.
Yeah.
There's probably not a lot of things. If you just start slowly and you just invest a small amount of money, I wouldn't put all my money into it straight away. Like, obviously you need an initial investment. Again, it depends on what you're doing. Like, if you want to be a photographer, you love taking photos of animals and trees, as an example, and wildlife. You might need to invest in a little camera, and that might be a few $100s, but you don't need to go and spend $5,000 on the best camera out there. to then only find that you don't really love doing it. You just thought that you loved it.
Yeah. And can you claim that on tax?
You can. Yeah, that's maybe.
I'm just wondering.
I
For all the photographers out there, get a camera and claim it.
if it's used for your side business, then yeah, you can. So
Yeah.
it's a tax deductible expense.
I guess it's also, I'm just thinking from my point of view, whether it's a long-term thing or short-term, because when it comes to that get rich quick thing, there's so many things you see out there, or so many, programs that people are pushing that you think, I could do this. They're making this much money off whatever it is. I know I've seen that and been messaged on Instagram to do certain things. So I think it's how much time do you want to invest into it, and is it a long-term thing? Is it a 6-month venture that you want to do to make a certain amount of money? Is it a 12, whatever, is it a long-term thing?
I think if you go into your side hustle knowing, this is a really good point you just made. I think if you go into your side hustle knowing what you want to do, so knowing what your goal is. For example, Dave, you can't see Dave at the moment, but Dave, you want this to be your full-time job, right? Yeah. So he's gone into this with a vision to be this. So his side hustle will eventually be his full-time gig, which would happen with me. So he knows what his vision is. He knows what his goal is, and he's doing everything in between to make that happen. Whether it's making pizzas on the side or working at Coles, they're all his little side hustles.
Yeah.
So that's to get the goal of the dream, which is to do your passion.
Yeah. Almost go into a small business.
Well, it is. Yeah, definitely.
It's a stepping stone.
It could be. I mean, I know some people that I've got a friend of mine that would love to be, a hotel manager at the Grand Casino, the big hotel, and that's his passion. He might get there and think, I don't love it. Or he might get there and think, this is great. I love this. This is what I was meant to do. So I think you will find out on the way what you love. So with the passion side of things, if you don't know what it is, it's okay. It will come, but you need to know what the goal is and why you're doing it.
Yeah, I think, that's key. Because, I was even thinking about a girlfriend of mine, this is years ago, when she was getting married, she was only working retail, but she wanted a bit more money for a wedding, wedding dress. She wanted a certain designer from Sydney. So she started making jewelry, like selling jewelry, making it from home.
Did she enjoy it?
Her goal was financial. She wanted to put it towards her wedding and wedding dress. That's it, because she didn't have, she just wanted more money for a wedding, obviously. And she was selling this jewelry, had a really good Instagram page, and then it just kind of took off. Like, she started selling it well. She got it in a little store and she sold the business, but still, the initial goal was financial. Then it became a hobby because it wasn't her hobby.
One of my really good friends, and you've met them. They've got the label. It's called Love from Isla, and they're like two of my family orientated nieces, I guess. They're really close friends of mine. And when she was pregnant, she started a baby. She loved baby clothes, and she was working for the government. And then she didn't really want to go back to work. And I remember vividly, like so clear, we were at her house, and she was like, "Oh, I wouldn't mind." She tried out some baby clothes, and she found someone that shipped clothes to her, and then she started selling them a little bit on Facebook. It's now her full-time gig, and she loves it. And it turned into, so it started as a little hobby that she loved because she was pregnant and she was going to have a baby, and she wanted to be able to dress the little girl up in different clothes. It turned out to be an amazing business, and that was just a side hustle that slowly built into that. So there's a number of different things, but see, if you start with your passion, you'll find the motivation when you're struggling and when times are tough, and when you've got to do the long hours and you're up to 11 or 12 or 1 or 2, the passion will continue to drive you to keep going.
Yeah. And then I guess when you see some results, you get a bit of traction, it just makes you want to do more.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about it, you've got to be really genuine with yourself. And you've got to say to yourself, do I love this industry? Is it something that I want to do? If it's a no, and if your instincts tell you no, then don't worry about it. Continue to look, continue to investigate, and it will pop up.
What, I guess, financially again, what would happen if I lost money?
Like if you invested some money into it and it didn't work out.
Yes.
Okay. You've got to look. I think you need to be comfortable knowing that if you're going to invest $1,000, be comfortable knowing that you're prepared to lose that. Now, don't go into it and just throw it away for no reason. Use that money really wisely. So you've got to know that you can get away with. You've got to The moment you say you're happy to invest that money, just consider it gone. Okay? Invest it completely separate. Look at it as if you're starting your new business or whatever it may be. Don't look at it as losing the money. Look at it as helping you to gain and start this side hustle.
Yeah, so it's like a budget almost.
That's like a budget. And again, I'll bring it back to the passion and the goal. If you've got that inside of you and you know what it is you want to do, you will probably fight really hard to make sure that you don't lose that money because your passion will drive you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it happens, it happens, I guess.
Look, it's happened. It's a part of a learning curve. I mean, I think that whatever you do will eventually bring you to where you want to go. So you've got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And it may not be the first thing you start with. And you may lose a little bit of money on the first thing you try, but be prepared that might happen.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I guess if you've got a backup, like a full-time job or something, or a job, it is a little bit of a different situation. You're not giving up everything to start a small business and lose money and all that sort of stuff. So it is different. Is there anything else that people would need to consider?
There's obviously a lot of there's a lot of things when you are up and running, like tax point of view and so forth. Now again, I'm not an accountant, so I will only tell you from an educational point of view. So whatever money you do earn, whether you've set up a business or not, whether you've set up a separate business or you're just trading as a sole trader, whatever money you earn, you will need to declare. So whether you do earn a bit, so let's say you buy something for, if you're in the buying and selling, so you're buying items and selling them. If you buy something for $100, you sell it for 50. So you buy for 50, you sell it for 100. You've made a 50% profit. That will need to go into your taxable income.
Yeah.
So the more you do of that, then if you make $5,000 for the year, then that would need to go on top of your taxable income. So if you're working for someone and you're earning, for example, 50 grand a year, you've now earned 55,000. So you will need to be sure that you pay tax.
Is it the same setup as having two jobs, or is it different?
Well, so as an individual, we pay tax from our individual income. Now, if you've got a company set up, that's a bit separate. The company will pay the tax, which is tax rate at 27.5%, I believe. But if you have not set up a tax and you're trading as a sole trader, which is just an individual, so it's you trading, then you would need to pay whatever you earn on that. I would strongly recommend that you, first of all, just see how it goes. Don't worry too much about this, because a lot of people will dive into it straight and start setting up companies and trusts and opening all these business bank accounts. Just start slow. Open one bank account, a business bank account, register an ABN, and then whatever you're earning after the year's done, the financial year's done, you can then revisit it. You don't need to start paying GST. There's a GST thing until you've earned over 75,000. So you don't need to register for GST. But my advice is speak to an accountant, get some friendly advice on what you're looking at doing. But I don't think you need to go and set up companies and trusts, because you get charged for that, right?
Yeah, I guess it comes back to what's your goal, what's your mission statement, what's your how long term is this? That will sort of stipulate a lot of things as well.
Definitely. I think we've covered just about everything. So what do you think?
I feel motivated to start a side hustle.
So you're someone that wants to do it. So this is for our audience. You're going to now go into the market, so to speak, and you're going to go there with ideas. So what would you do now that you know all this information? Well, how would you start? Because you're a typical person that you're the perfect candidate.
Yeah, as in I was scared.
Yep.
And I did think, how is this going to affect my full-time job? Do I have time?
But what were you scared about?
I don't know. It's just the risk. I do risk management as part of what I do in my job. So I calculate risk. But
when you say risk, is it losing money?
Yeah. Okay. And then I wouldn't want to take away from my full-time job. But I think if you do it in the right way, and again, if it's something you're passionate about, it's not really a second job. It's something you're doing on the side, as opposed to watching Netflix, like you said. You're investing your time outside of work into another venture.
So would it be fair to say you're probably going to go and journal like a lot of things that you're interested in?
Yeah, I do my research. I'd probably write down all the areas that I am interested in.
Yep.
Maybe you do a bit of a pros and cons, look at where that leads, do some research. What's the market like? What do I enjoy? Where could I start and just go from there. I've got a good idea anyway, but I think you just sort of go down a rabbit hole and see where it takes you.
And that's the biggest thing. But you don't need to dive it. Like I said, you don't need to dive into it fully straight away. I mean, it just, unless you've got a burning desire that you know what it is, and Dave, I'll use you as an example again. You know that you wanted to be a PT. So Dave wanted to be a PT. He thought, this is what I want to do. This is a perfect example. He wanted to be a PT, and then he got his PT license, I believe, and then you found the passion for photography somehow.
Yeah, right at the end.
Yeah. At the end of your
the PT course.
So he thought he was going to be a PT, and that's what he wanted to do.
How did you come across the passion?
Inspiration on Instagram.
Really?
Honestly, yeah.
So you probably saw photos, people taking photos, and you
watching like other creators do their thing, and I'm like, that's really cool. Like, because I've always wanted to do something creative, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get my first camera, which I did, and then slowly.
Did you claim it on tax?
Yeah,
you and the tax.
I'll have to.
Maybe you should be an accountant.
Maybe.
Seriously, everything with you is tax. So with that, he thought he had one passion, which you enjoy training, and we know that.
Yeah,
but as a business, when he started to investigate that, he probably did his course and thought, I don't know if I really want to do this. And then something else popped up that sparked his intuition that said, I like that. It's creative. This is what's going to energize me, and this is what's going to drive me. And now, what, a year later? 4 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 4 months
cool.
later, he's doing what he loves.
He's side hustling.
It's side hustling. And then in a year's time, you'll be out on your own.
Yeah.
For sure, because you network, you meet people.
Of course.
He's still doing what he needs to do to earn money to get by, and that's the most important bit. But he knows his passion. So for you, you might start to go down one avenue and it may just lead into another.
But I think that's sort of key, because I was very worried about making my hobby monetizing my hobby and making it a career when I just enjoyed, like, training, for example. You love training, doesn't mean you want to be a personal trainer.
Well, we've had this conversation. I wanted to open a pizza shop. I wanted to open a gym. I wanted to do all these things, but it's because I love them.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing that, but it doesn't need to be a business for me. So be careful about what you love doing and what you want to do as a career, because there's a fine line. Like, I love training, but I don't want to be a PT. I love eating pizza, but I don't need to open a pizza shop.
Who doesn't love eating pizza?
I don't know. If you do, please don't listen to this podcast because this is a pizza-only crew. So that's basically it. Hopefully you've found a lot of use from this. It's a really big trending topic, and as you can see, the millennials and
64%.
Everyone's trying to give it a go. So find your passion.
And good on you if you are.
Yes.
Even if you're trying and struggling and it doesn't work, at least you tried.
Just keep trying. We love to hear your story. So if you are listening, want some advice, please join our Facebook group, Money Grows on Trees, or you can find me on Instagram, The Melbourne Broker. Eshar, thank you for joining us again. Dave, although you're not mic'd up, thank you for your input.
Thanks, guys.
Just another thing I need to comment here. So any advice given is general in nature. It does not take into account your personal circumstances and is not dedicated to you individually. So please seek financial advice before you make any decisions. Thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you for joining. And until next time, we will see you then.
See you guys.